Hey, everybody. Welcome to the iProv Made podcast, where we help your practice run like a more profitable organization. With me, as always, I've got my talented, smart, almost as good looking as me, co-host, RJ Martino. What's up, RJ?
Well, we've got a better looking version of both of us and our new guest, Minal Sampat. And Minal is just a light in the room and inspiring, someone that you can really rally behind, and a great speaker. And that's how she came to us, actually, was a reference from an audience member who said, hey, I've listened to the speaker, highly recommended. But in addition to just being a great speaker, she also knows our audience intimately. She is a registered dental hygienist herself. She is married to a physician, and she knows some of the struggles we deal with day in and day out. She is the best-selling author of Why Your Marketing is Killing Your Business, and has become a quick friend of ours. So I'm excited to introduce everybody to Minal Sampat.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, as a fellow marketer, we could have talked to her all day. So again, like RJ said, I can't hit on this enough. She was recommended by a listener. So if you like this content, which I know you will, send us a referral. All we need is a name. We'll track down the rest of them. But without further ado, Minal Sampat.
Welcome to the iProv Made podcast. I'm here with my good friend and co-host, Jordan Smith. Jordan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Dude, I am very excited. I became friends with one of the most well-respected speakers in the dental industry, and Minal Sampat. And Minal has been agreed to let us interview and take as much brain knowledge out of her and impart it into our audience. She speaks a lot to dentists, but to a lot of other people. So I am super excited to introduce my friend and just phenomenal speaker, Minal Sampat.
Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be fun. I'm super excited.
Yeah. Well, you stay excited. One of the things that you see is your onstage presence, your energy, and I just love that. But in addition to just seeing you on stage, I also have not read, but am dying to get into your new book. I'm saying best-selling book. It's already got phenomenal reviews in the industry on why your marketing is killing your business. Has that been a good venture for you?
You know, it's my first book, and It came out in January. So when I was I'm a marketing strategist. So the first thing was, it's a marketing strategist coming out saying that your marketing is killing your business. And what are you going to do about it, right? So the title was Why Your Marketing is Killing Your Business and What to Do About It. So I think it grabbed a lot of people's attention. And to my surprise, within 24 hours, it became a #1 Amazon bestseller in 5 countries.
Wow.
So it took us all by surprise. It's my first book. I mean, to be honest with you, RJ, I was hoping that 20 people will buy it, including my mom. You know, so I was like, hey guys, I wrote a book. Can you buy the book? And then my team is messaging me in the middle of a conference going, bestseller in India, in America, in Australia, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, what is going on in the world right now?
Well, in addition to the book, in addition to you being a strategist, you're also a registered dental hygienist and married to a physician. It seems to me like God formed the perfect person that can help dental practice or private practice owners and put you on this earth. So we're lucky to have you. We are excited to get into all that you have to talk to our people about. We like to start and just kind of tell you our framework in which we look at building a profitable healthcare practice, because that's what we're all trying to do. And, you know, for us, a lot of times we talk about these baby steps, and, you know, baby step 1 really is just looking at all the symptoms. And usually we all talk about the symptoms, the problems with the business, about our people, about our marketing, whatever the symptoms are. It usually starts there, but you've got to dig deeper, because usually those symptoms are part of a deeper problem. Step 2 for us is making sure that the person or the audience member is the type of person that takes accountability for the problem. They don't want to just throw money at it. They actually want to fix the core problem. The symptom they've identified is a core problem, and are they the type of person that takes accountability for the problem. Step 3 for us is triaging. So usually we can say, hey, either your problem is you've got a corporate culture problem, that is, you haven't built a vision for what the future looks like, either for yourself or for your people. And a lot of us as business owners, we don't do that. So we're big on building a corporate culture and a vision for the future. Step 5 for us is building the strategy and the scorecard. How are we going to accomplish the future vision? So we build the strategy, the scorecard. Step 6 is tracking that progress. How do you make sure that you're tracking, you're on the right track, you're meeting your weekly, monthly, quarterly goals? And then step 7 is engaging the team. So that's our 7-step framework on how we go about fixing, growing a healthcare practice. What is your thought on overview, kind of elevator pitch on what you talk to your partners about?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's pretty simple. I have all the practices that I work with, which is healthcare, dentistry and medical. I reduced your marketing budget by 20% and I increased your production.
Mm-hmm. So it worked. Look, now my eyes get big. I heard I'm reducing my cost by 20% and I'm increasing production all day, every day. The very next question for me is how? Oh, I even side-eye that, how?
A part of this, because you are in the field, so you understand this more than anybody, is our world is changing very quickly. So that means that, right now we went through COVID, right? And we became into this virtual revolution where webinars are the new thing to do. And everyone's on TikTok now. Who's not on TikTok? Mm-hmm. Everyone's on TikTok, but I'm talking to my clients and my practices who are still trying to leverage Facebook. Forget Instagram and LinkedIn and any of those. And they're like, what are you talking about TikTok? What do you mean I have to do TikTok now? What is going on here?
Yeah.
Because of the world that we live in and the technology that we have available, things have changed. Things are happening very rapidly. And it becomes harder and harder, especially for healthcare professionals, to say, what is the right strategy for me? What are the right platforms for me? What is it that I need to do at my end as a business owner, right? Because you have to understand that I'm also a hygienist, so I see patients. My husband's a physician and he's a practicing physician. His priority are his patients. And, for them to sit down and say, now I have to worry about this business and this new TikTok thing where I have to make a video about some funny dance, or I have to talk about Tiger King. What's going on in the world?
Yeah.
So, when I look at practices, when I look at their approach, the first thing I start with is saying, forget all that. Forget all that noise. Let's not even get into Facebook. Let's not even get into Google Ads. I don't want us to go anywhere. Our first step is going to be very simple. Who is your audience? And when I usually say who is your audience, I get a feel of, well, I am a physician, I'm a dentist, I'm a GP, I'm a general practitioner dentist. So I want to attract everybody from age 0 to age 70.
Yeah.
Well, that's 5 different generations you want to attract.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I mean, the way boomers attract and react to marketing is very different than millennials or Gen Z. I mean, even the Gen Zs and the millennials react differently to marketing. The Gen Xers, who are the ones with the family and the homes right now, that should be the ideal target market. Usually we leave them behind. We are so focused on the boomers and the millennials, but the Xers are the ones who have the young families, are getting married, who have careers, getting out of debt, right?
Yeah.
So instead of that, I kind of start my strategy and saying, we're going to actually build a new patient avatar. And when I say build it, I want to know their hobbies. I want to know where they are going out for happy hours. I want to know how many kids they have, what cars they drive, where do they vacation, what is their name?
Yeah.
I want you to name your avatar, because as soon as you name them, they become real.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now your marketing is not if I should be on TikTok, or if I should be on YouTube, or if I should be on Google AdWords. It's on, if I want to attract Jessica, who's a 40-year-old mom with 2 kids, a working mom who drives a minivan, who is making an income of about $200,000, that's a family income, to $400,000, and she needs 5 p.m. appointments, guess what? Your marketing just started to happen for you.
And now you're getting them to think strategically instead of just tactically.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the overwhelming feeling is the first part that I get rid of. And that's why I say my elevator pitch is, I reduce your marketing budget by 20%. So, you know, the numbers we have is like one of my one location clients, because I work with one and multi-location clients. My one location clients just recently, we finished working with her and we were able to reduce her budget by $30,000 in marketing and increase her production by $200,000 within 9 months.
Wow.
Wow.
Another one doubled their new patient numbers within 6 months. So things like that happen by not thinking I need to do everything that's in marketing, but by doing the right thing for the right audience.
Gotcha.
If you want to attract Jessica, she will choose you because you're giving her everything that she needs.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to attract Jessica and Sam and Billy and Johnson and Margaret and everybody else, they are not going to pick you because that's just simply too many people.
Yeah.
And so what you're finding, I'm guessing, because I get attracted to the elevator pitch because I hear reduction in cost and increase reduction in cost, increase in production. What you described with the avatar feels like new spend that we're not spending money on right now. Are you seeing that people are usually spending more than they need to?
Absolutely, 100%.
So they're spending their money on the wrong things because they're trying to be everything to everyone?
Yes and no. So they're trying to be everything to everyone, but it's not even being everything to everyone. It's a shiny object effect. It's a shiny object effect saying that, you know what, just because TikTok is now popular, I must be on TikTok and start spending money on TikTok. You won't believe how many people reached out to me in the last few years who want to get on Snapchat. And then I look at them and I say, well, Snapchat are teenagers. Are you trying to, are teenagers paying your bills? Like, are they the decision makers? Snapchat should be a tertiary strategy for you. That should be a strategy for you if you're an orthodontic practice, if you're a pediatric practice, and you want to get in front of young patients just so that you are keeping engaged with them. But do you think a 14-year-old cares about their dentist and what they're doing on Snapchat?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be super cool and really into Snapchat to really attract that 14-year-old's attention.
Or maybe from the retail side, as far as like the cosmetic type of stuff. Because, yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And for all those listeners out there, I mean, I think that's a great point. Don't just start slashing your budget. Do it strategically. Figure out who you're going after and simplify the message. In our business with iProv, I can't tell you how many clients, we have to come in day one and talk them out of a big TV spend just because they see their golf buddy advertising on the morning news. We say that might work for him, but what you told us you want to achieve, that's not a good use of your dollar, Doc. I'm sorry.
Well, I want to emphasize something Minal was talking about too, is that I want to be sympathetic and tell audience that shiny object syndrome, that is common for all business owners.
Yep.
What dentistry, whether you are a private practice physician, you're built as an entrepreneur, as a business leader. That has worked for you for a long time. And so we're not saying that's a terrible, terrible thing. We want you to feel like it's okay, but also know the downside of doing that. I think a lot of times we have this negative self-talk in our head that thinks, I'm just not cut out for this. A good business owner is so structured, knows exactly the target they're going after. We're all kind of guessing our way through this. And when you don't know the exact path forward, that's when you go out and get a coach, someone like Minal, who helps you through that. It's funny that as business owners, we shy away from this idea of getting coaches in, even though that's the business we're in. I don't know teeth the way a dentist does. So what do? I hire someone that can help me through those problems. So on the coaching side, tell us what a before looks like before they start working with you. What are the people and what do they look like after? You gave a great example already on the reducing costs, but psychologically, do they know they even have a problem, or are you usually talking them into the problem?
I never tell people they have a problem because clearly they have made it so far. So whatever they have done has got them to this point. And with my avatars, while I do work with a lot of startups because we can put a strategy in place right away, I also work with practices who have been practicing for many, many years. I don't think any one of us are in a negative mind space because the fact that you want to do something, I'm going to give you a quote. When I was in college and I was deciding between going to dental school or going into marketing, I went and looked, spoke to my career counselor. Mm-hmm. And she told me something at that point, and she said, I don't know if you believe in faith, but if you think you want to do something, you're already born with the power to do so. Mm. And I take that to heart, and I take it to heart every time somebody comes to me and reaches out and says, hey, Minal, I'm doing this, can you help? When you say and you identify that you want help with something, that means you can do it. Yeah. It's a simple fact. Otherwise, you wouldn't reach out to me. Otherwise, you would not even think about the fact that you need help. So you have already justified yourself that there is something you want to improve, or not even improve, increase. I have some practices that will say, we are doing fantastic. We are seeing 100 new patients a month. I want to take it to 200. And can you help us level up? And we talk about leveling up. So wherever you are in your journey right now as a practice owner, you are right. You are in the perfect place that you need to be. And there are resources available for you. So the before and the after looks something like this. The before is the shiny object syndrome, where we are doing too many. It's also not knowing where the money is being spent. It's also not knowing how we are leveraging that money, and if we are actually seeing return on investment. And the most basic factor before is the overwhelming feeling of, holy crap, there is so much to do. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. I just don't know what to do. Where do I start? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there is something that I require of all my clients before I start working with them. My clients are required to have somebody inside their practice who's going to be their marketing ambassador. Mm-hmm. I do not work with practices that cannot identify somebody who can become their marketing ambassador, or cannot hire somebody who can become their marketing ambassador. Mm-hmm. Because in my world, ideas are worth nothing if they're not implemented. I mean, I want to fly doesn't mean I can just fly.
Yes.
Right? I want to go ahead and become the most viral thing on Instagram. Well, that's a great idea, but it's not implemented, so it's not going to happen. So you need somebody who's going to implement, because as a strategist, I don't sell any products. I don't sell your website. I don't sell you AdWords. I don't sell you anything. I'm coming in completely unbiased and saying, what is going to work for your avatar? How are we going to reach there? And who is the doer inside your practice? Because my goal is that after I finish my strategy and my training sessions with this doer and the practice owner, they're going to run with it.
Yeah.
That's my goal. My goal is to create marketing gurus inside dental practices. Now, when I'm able to do that, the after looks like a happier practice owners, because they don't have to worry about what's the most trending hashtag on Instagram right now. Or should I be spending Google AdWords? Who's going to build my website? I need to put out this press release. I have to send an email to my patients. You don't have to worry about any of that, because it's somebody's job to do it. And now they're trained to know how to do it. So it's a peace of mind. So you go from this overwhelming feeling of, what do I do? How do I do it? How do I see results? To being, I am at peace. Things are happening. I don't have to worry about it. And guess what? I'm back to being who I am, which is a healthcare provider to my patients.
Yes.
I'm just worried about Mrs. Smith's case. I don't have to worry about anything else in marketing.
I love it. Well, and you kind of hit on kind of one of our baby steps is just, are these the kind of people that will take ownership of the problem? Will you, and the mere fact that they're willing to name an ambassador, let go of the reins of the horse and saying, hey, ambassador, you're empowered to do this. That says we got the right type of person in place. So triaging where the problem is, are there certain things that make one client successful and the other one not? You can lead a horse to water. You can't make him drink. So if our audience is thinking, this sounds great, what differentiates the guys who succeed using your strategies versus the ones that don't?
There is a threefold answer to that. So the three things that I have seen pretty much in common with all the successful practices and the practice owners is they are not micromanagers. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Okay, you can't have a marketing ambassador inside your practice. You can't have creative people and then put barriers around them. because that's going to hinder creativity and hinder growth. You can't do that. You can't micromanage. If you're going to go ahead with something, you're going to go ahead with something. The second one is the ability to almost be a chameleon. And what I mean by that is you have to own up and understand that you are a leader. So before, perhaps you were overwhelming where you were not able to communicate with your team. You were not able to communicate your goals and your wants and your expectation. That has to change. You have to become a leader. So you have to not be a micromanager, and you have to be a leader where you are communicating effectively and clearly to your team members on what do you expect from them. So this way it's not, well, she said this and he said that, well, you never told me that. And what about that email? You said this. No, I expect our new patient numbers to double by this time. Here is somebody who's going to help us. Here are the strategies. This is what we are going to do. This is what I expect from you, you, and you, right? And you create that delegation system. Mm-hmm. And the third one, and again, once more, perhaps the most important one is the ability to implement. Mm-hmm. Don't be scared. Because what happens is if you've gone through the first two processes of making sure you're not micromanaging, so there is creativity happening at your end, and you are delegating and you're communicating your actual wants and the results that you expect, then you have to be able to implement. You know, we can talk about how many times have you guys talked about a website with a client, which was supposed to be a 8-week project that turns into a 6-month project. Mm-hmm. Oh. Happens. It doesn't happen. You know, there is, I think Mark Cuban actually said that micromanagement is the death of creativity. I actually said the death, you know, being not able to implement, mm-hmm. is going to just be exactly on the same spot you were before. Yeah. So if you're going to say that I want a new website and we are working on a new website and the deadline is 8 weeks, I'll give you 10 weeks. By 10 weeks, that website is going live. We're going live. So you have 10 weeks to make sure, so I'm giving 2 additional weeks to make sure this project is done. You cannot, you know, try to be perfect in everything in your marketing. It simply is not going to work.
Perfection is the enemy of progress.
Absolutely. It absolutely is. So that's the kind of, you know, the 3 things that I have seen in my practice.
That's great. You know, if I feel like you could unpack that a lot, but not micromanaging, being a good leader, a great leader and communicating, ability to implement. There's so much there that we agree wholeheartedly with. Is that what if they just said, I want to do that, is that what we'll find in the book, more of how to do those things? Because the idea of being a good leader is like, yeah, I can do that. But what does that mean? Or the ability not to micromanage. You think, yeah, I wouldn't micromanage if my people just did it correctly. Well, I don't want to micromanage.
And sometimes they think being a good leader is just coming down and setting down metrics. But, you know, we're saying, no, you got to tell me what your vision is. Like, sell me your vision. What does this thing look like? Not just a quarter from now if we hit our goals, but 3 years from now. How does that impact everybody in the organization, right?
So, I mean, I think I'm very interested in what's in that book. And I think as an audience member, if you're trying to figure out what makes someone successful using Minal's program, you'll find more of that in the book. In addition to like some of the things you talked about, how do you integrate into someone's practice? You said you've got that person, but like on a regular recurring basis, you've got the ambassador that you're working with. Are you going back and reporting to physicians or to dentists? And is that important to you? Is it as important to them? Tell us how that goes kind of ongoing for you.
Yeah, if there's somebody out there that says, yeah, I'm going to buy the book, but I want you to work for me. Kind of what does that look like? Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Well, thank you. Yes. So the first question, this is in the book, chapter 5, it says teamwork, not micromanagement, is all about all of this stuff. And secondly, yes. So, you know, I like to bring on board as many people as available if they're open to that. So it's an open invitation to my clients to be on all of my strategy calls. All of my strategy calls are recorded. They are all video calls. They are also all shared screen calls. And they're all sent to them. So there is nothing that's missed. None of it is cookie cutter. So I actually, we go through the same process of they're going to fill out a questionnaire. So I know what their goals are. We're going to have a very open conversation about my expectations from them and their expectations from me so that our goals are always aligned. And then I actually create a team accountability system. So this is something where the practice owners and the team members are able to see everything that's being worked on during any time of the day. So it's all done online, and there is an accountability system. So the practice owners are involved in it throughout, where even if they're not on the strategy calls with me, they simply just log on and they exactly see what's going on. They can see the campaigns which are working. We also create a benchmark. So, obviously we want to see results, like something that you said, which immediately caught my eye, RJ, was how are we tracking this? What's actually working and what's not, right? So we create different benchmarks on what happens. And at the end of the day, the practice owners become my friends. I've been doing this for a long time, and I don't think I have one client that hasn't turned into a friend and has not been in contact with me.
That's great.
And I think the reason for that is because it's a very open communication system. If something is not working at their end, they will tell me. If it's not working at my end, I tell them. And it's a very open relationship. So you can go online and look at everything that we are doing. You have the ability to see all the work. There is no such thing as a blanket or, this is what we're working. There is no he said, she said, because everything is recorded. Everything is on the platform. They can track everything. They can see everything. And the strategy calls, and I don't believe in contracts. Maybe it's my millennial way of living life. I don't believe in those things. So I come up with how much time you're going to need from me, strategy calls, and that's what we work on. And my strategy calls are 2 hours long. So we discuss whatever, plan I come up with you, we work on the strategy calls. And like I said, my goal is after my strategy calls are finished, you can run with it. Now, my clients have the option to keep me on a retainer basis at a very low fee where I chat with them on a monthly basis. And 95% of them do that because, once again, we are friends now and we are collaborators. And, it's like, hey, Minal, I'm doing this campaign. What do you think about it? And we'll throw ideas, but guess what? I don't have to train you on how to implement a campaign. I don't have to train you on, how do you research the best hashtags or how do you leverage social media? I mean, I have formulas. I have formulas for finding your superpower. I have formulas. I have 5 ways to connect. I have formulas. I have all these formulas that they already know. So they just have to plug the campaign into the formula.
Yes.
And then they succeed with it.
Well, love that. Love the concept. I think a lot of audience members are thinking, yeah, this is great. I'd love if we could just put you in here. But I've already got somebody else who's running the marketing, applying some of the stuff you're talking about. Can you talk about some things that you watch that are key performance indicators that they might not be looking at? And I know that I'm putting you on the spot here, but I'm trying to think through as an audience member. I love this, but I already got a guy. What could I do now? Let's talk about, just start on the key performance, and maybe we could even talk more directly if there are other applicable strategies or tactics they could do right now. But on a KPI, them saying, I don't do it, I got a guy, how do I hold him accountable? Or what KPIs should I be watching?
Well, first of all, I love working with other marketing people. That's why I love the marketing field. I'm one of those marketers that I like working with other marketing people.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when somebody comes in and says, I have a marketing company, I'm like, yes, somebody who speaks my language. I love this. We can do this together.
Yeah.
I don't believe in competing. I don't believe in having a unique factor kind of thing. I think teamwork is the best way to get results for clients. So that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is, if they're already doing marketing, if it's a digital company like yourself, or if there is somebody doing internal marketing, that means they have some knowledge. That means they're doing something right. That's why they're there for you. So I would never put them under the bus and say, well, it's like the website things you get, right? How many clients call me? Well, this person said, and my website sucks right now because it's not loading in the exact amount of time. Or I got this SEO person saying I suck at SEO, right?
You're in my shoes right now.
All of that exists. That's all scare tactics.
Yeah.
So I don't believe in scare tactics. Now, if you are working with a digital agency, I'm going to talk to you in a very real language here. The bottom line always comes down to, are you seeing results? That's it. There is nothing else there is no other KPI that matters except, are you seeing results? So if you're working with a digital company and you have, again, had a very clear expectations with a marketing company that you're working with and said, I want to be on this to that. And hopefully the marketing company was not a company that said, I'll get you on Google on day one. So if they said that to you, don't work with them. Yeah. But if you're working with a credible, hardworking marketing company or a marketing person, and you've had this honest conversations and your goals are, hey, I need to be on, I want to start making sure that I show up, Google Maps and in the Google stack, here's what it is. And they're communicating with you throughout. Are you seeing results? So if your expectation was, I need to see results in 1 year, where are you in that 1 year? And what is the conversation you're going to have with this marketing agency or person to say, where are you in relation to those results? Yep. That's the bottom line. There is no other KPI. I know people come up with all these very almost confusing and very things that sound great into KPIs. You need to have this 5 KPIs and 10 KPIs. Are those great? Of course, all of that is great. I am a daughter of a person who owns, I'm going to give you a little story. Do we have time for a little story?
Yeah, no, love it. Yeah.
Okay. So, I was born in India. I grew up in St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Okay.
And St. Thomas have you guys been to St. Thomas?
Oh, it's beautiful. That is like, beautiful. That is, you leave heaven. I don't know what allowed you to leave. That is great.
We'll get into that another day.
Okay.
But so I grew up in St. Thomas and my family still lives there. So my parents live there, my siblings live there. I go there all the time, all that fun stuff, right? Now, if you've been to St. Thomas, especially our listeners and viewers, you will remember that we have the beaches, but we also have something else. We have jewelry. That's our biggest economy, right? St. Thomas. Now, my parents own a jewelry store on one street called the Main Street. Main Street has over 100 jewelry stores. The entire street is filled with jewelry store.
Wow.
And my parents have a competition to their left, to their right, in front of them, and to their back. So all the listeners right now, take a minute, close your eyes, and imagine that you are on one street and you are sharing your walls with your competition.
Oh, that's a nightmare, it feels like. I mean, I'm scared to death.
So how does a patient choose you? How does a customer come into my parents' store? Now, my parents' store, when my dad first told us that he's going to open a jewelry store, we thought he had lost his mind. I mean, we were convinced that he has lost his mind because who would do this to themselves?
Yeah.
Well, fast forward to today, we don't have 1, not 2, but 3 jewelry stores, an online e-commerce business. You can find them on Amazon, Etsy, eBay. You can purchase. It's become a big thing. Yeah. So how did they survive, right? And their surviving was not just saying, what are my KPIs? Their surviving was, did I make money today? Did I actually grow? Did I see results?
Yep.
Right? So your KPI should be, if I am working with this person on these things, and these are my goals, and this is the realistic timeline to see this result, where are we with that? And that's it. And if you're not there, then have a conversation and say, what happened? I mean, clearly if COVID happened, your results are going to be different.
Sure. Well, that's you are, every audience member that I speak to, you're speaking their language too, which is, it's not working. And so when we look at the next thing, which is, we talk about engaging the team, once you've worked out where you want to go, what's a realistic timeline, they then look, and I think there's so much negative speak of, my people don't want to do new stuff. I don't want to have to make them do new things, but it's not working. I just know it internally. So how do I go about talking and engaging my team and getting buy-in from them? How, I think it's very normal for them to have that negative self-talk, and my people don't want this. Do you see that? What have your clients in the past done to get buy-in from their team?
So I'm going to speak their language again. as a healthcare provider, when I have an hour to see my patients, and in that hour to see my patients, I'm supposed to actually provide the care, talk about prevention, make sure that they have their next appointment scheduled, make sure their x-rays are taken, make sure that this is done, that is done, this is done. And now on top of that, you want me to come here and talk about reviews and gathering reviews? What? Hold up. I already am saying 2 patients who are running late. So now I'm seeing those 2 patients who are running late. So now you still want me to do that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? That's always going to happen. Because you see, you have people who are natural leaders and who are going to want to do something more. And then you have people who are doers, who want to do their job, and they are focused so much on their job. Like I have hygiene friends who have zero interest in marketing, zero interest. They're like, give me my patient. I want to talk about plaque and buildup. Like I want to talk about perio. That's what I want to talk about. So it's very important if you have team members, and I actually have a whole talk. I do a 6-hour workshop and presentation on this called squad goals. And in my squad goals presentation, the first thing that I start with is very simple. What does your team like? So individual team members, what are they good at? Your individual team members, what are their passions and what are they good at? Let's say you have Janet. Janet's a hygienist, right? She loves hygiene. She loves talking about perio. Well, make her your perio prevention ambassador. If you have Sarah, and Sarah has this obsession with social media, every time you turn around, she's on her phone doing a TikTok video. Make Sarah your social media content developer, right? If you focus on what they naturally like and what they actually love to do, then you don't have to worry about this, oh, I hate doing this. Because if somebody told me and said, hey, Minal, don't buy shoes, let's not look at shoes, we can't be friends. There is no way you and I are going to be friends because I love shoes and that's what I do. Like that's my incentive for myself, right? But you have to find common ground with your team members. Now you may have some team members who hate everything. And I've heard that they're just not on board with this. They can't do this. Well, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I can't help you change their personality. At that point, if you're thinking about marketing, and you're expecting your team members who absolutely hate marketing to do marketing, then hire a marketing ambassador. Don't give people things to do that they're not going to want to do anyways, because they're going to suck at doing it. They're going to suck at doing that. And on top of that, it's not going to bring you results because when you do a crappy job on something, it shows up as a crappy job on something. Right? Think about making the pizza and you forgot to add the sauce to it because you hate making pizzas. Like it's not going to turn out right. Just simple stuff like that. So,
well, I agree. And they're not going to get better at it because they don't enjoy it. Yeah.
So why are you giving people things to do that they hate doing? So find out what they're good at. Number one, find out what they're good at. So if Janet loves making baskets and her hobby is like scrapbooking and stuff, great. Give her all these books to make it for your coffee table inside your practice where you're showing off your culture. Number one, find out what they're passionate about and give them that task. Number two, give them the time to do it. Because when I'm seeing my hygiene patients and you want to add 3 more things to my plate, you have pissed me off at this point.
Right.
And as a hygienist, I am not going to compromise care for my patients. If I need 50 minutes with my patients, those 50 minutes are going to my patients. So if whatever this thing is that you want me to do is not going to get done because it's in the back burner. So instead, provide them the time. So if you're expecting somebody to do more than what they're expected to do already, give them the time to do it. And it's a very realistic approach to looking at it and saying, how would I react? If you are a dentist and if you were to fill cavities on 2 patients at one time, you can't do it.
Right.
If you're a physician, it's the same issue. So put yourself in those shoes and find out what people are interested in. So I actually run team meetings and team workshops around squad goals, where we see a huge amount of positivity come out of it because the team members feel appreciated. They also understand that they now have the time to do additional work, also time to make more money doing additional work. And the owners are happy, the practice owners are happy because, hey, my team is on board and Minal likes social media and she's good at it and she's actually doing a good job. So Yeah, finding that balance.
Yes, I love that. And, I think the audience, from the ones that I've spoken to, is, as business owners, and the audience is made up of business, we all think, we know we're a little bit different, that we are hungry, we're willing to risk because we want the reward, and we have this negative devil on our shoulder that says our people don't want more work. They want to do less. They don't care about the business growing. They just want to be in and get out. And so we think, this isn't going to succeed because my people don't want it. And inevitably, when you do talk to the employees, the squad goal process that you go through, what you'll learn is that your people want the same vision. That if you've sold them a vision on a growing organization, they want that. They want a happy boss, and a happy boss means a growing company. They want to help get you there, but they usually aren't really given instructions on how to be successful. And so I love that you bring those people together, because you're right, the relationships get better because you're like, no, you guys, we all do have the same goal. We all want this thing to continue to grow and be successful, but we've got to get an alignment on what it looks like to get there. So very great feedback.
And we've all been a part of organizations, unfortunately, where you come in and it seems like the direction shifts day to day, week to week, month to month, and those are just chaotic places to work. So I love getting everybody on the same page and saying, whether it comes from the top down or the bottom up, let's figure out what this thing looks like and what success looks like for everybody.
And the opposite part of this is when you don't even allow the team members to have a seat at the table,
Yep.
you may have people who are incredible at what they're doing, and you will have no idea because you didn't even allow them a seat at the table.
Yeah.
So if you don't provide that opportunity to your own people, how are you going to know that what they're good at, and how can they help you? And there are many times where I have seen, so this is another approach, right? So many times I have seen where people like to have systems. I love systems. Systems are great. Systems are in place. But think of a Chipotle line. You go to Chipotle, you pick out what kind of burrito bowl or burrito you want, and you walk through the steps, and there's a system to it. I like that system. That's a great system. But that system works for Chipotle. Mm-hmm. That system does not work for healthcare practices. Here's why. There are some people who are so good at what they are doing that they can finish that in 2 hours. Mm-hmm. Then there are others who will take 5 hours to do it. So if you create this protocol in the system and you are thinking that everybody is the same, when clearly we are not the same, you are actually hurting yourself. Mm-hmm. Instead, if you give a task, and again, my book goes deep into this, chapter 5. I think chapter 5 is this entire conversation. Chapter 5 is so in depth into it on how do you actually train your team members to do this? Yep. How do you actually, what are the steps that you take? And I provide exact steps on doing that. But, end of the day, the one thing I'll tell you is that find common ground. So I am, again, one of those marketing people who does not believe in the unique selling factor, because everything we hear about is what makes you different? What makes you different? I don't believe in what makes you different. I don't think that's a good approach, especially if you're trying to attract patients. Patients don't want to go to a different healthcare provider. They don't want to do that. What they want is they want to find common ground with you. So if you're someone, and here's an example. I'm going to give you a content example now, just so get the point across, right? I'm a hygienist. Now, typically on a website, if you were to go to the Meet the Team page, you're going to find, hey, meet Minal Sampat, she's our hygienist. I'm a pediatric hygienist. She's been seeing patients for X, Y, and Z. She went to school here. She grew up here. She likes long walks on the beach, right? That's my profile on a regular website. Yep. Now, what if my profile was this instead? Hi, meet Minal Sampat. And it'll be me, a video, or I wrote it down. Hi, my name is Minal Sampat. I was born in India. One of my favorite things to do is to laugh. I love to laugh. I love to smile big. I'm a happy person. I've always been. Yeah. But when I look at my photos of growing up in India as a child, I am not laughing big. My smiles are not there. You see, I was very ashamed of the black spots on my teeth. The reason I am a pediatric dental hygienist is because I don't want any child to ever feel like they can't laugh loud. I don't want them to ever feel that they can't show off their teeth. And that is why I'm a pediatric dental hygienist. I look forward to seeing your family. Which content do you think worked better?
Oh, I mean, I was just sucked into the video. I mean, what a great way to really get to know somebody and just feel like a personal connection, which is what we want.
No, well, but do you think that mom's going to care if I went to Rutgers or Harvard?
I didn't even hear that. I didn't even think about it. You know, there was no question in my mind that this is who I want seeing my child.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean when you try to find common ground.
Yeah.
If you already have content, your content should not be your accolades. And, you know, we can talk about all of each individual accolades that all of us have, right? It's really not about the accolades, but it's about how do you connect with people. And if you want to connect with people, you have to find a common ground with them. What is it that keeps them up at night? What is it that they're worried about? You know how my family succeeds in St. Thomas? They don't do any marketing. And first of all, my parents' jewelry business is called Golden Star. It sounds like a Chinese restaurant, right? Golden Star. But if you were to ever go online and Google Golden Star Virgin Islands or Golden Star USVI St. Thomas, right? And you're going to see reviews on TripAdvisors and Google. Majority of the reviews say, oh man, Sam, every time I go to Golden Star, I feel like family. You know what? I wanted to buy something more expensive and Sam told me, don't buy that right now. I think this is a better option for you. And it was a cheaper option. Who does that? You know, every time I go to St. Thomas, Vina brings me a home cooked meal because she knows I hate eating the cruise food. Those are the reviews. That is the success of my family. What is the common ground? If you're able to find common ground with your consumer, your patients, your customers, your clients, you're always going to be successful because they relate with you. So forget about how you're so different. Nobody wants to be different or connect with you to be different. They want to know, can I talk to you like this? Can I connect with you? Are you the hygienist who's right for my kid?
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
Love it.
I'm going to do that.
I love that. And that's, you know, everybody's heard it said a different way, which is, you know, it's why you do what you do and not specifically what. And that's what you're talking about there, which I love. So, well, speaking of that, I want to get into our final round of questions. This is where we give the listeners a little bit of insight on you and your success and how you got to the point to where you are. So I know we've been providing a lot of good content for them, but I think it's, you know, if I'm a listener out there too, I'm also curious a little bit more about you. So, yeah, just kind of, and this is a hard question, but what have been kind of, if you think about it like a dish, what are kind of the big ingredients that you've picked out throughout your career that have helped you get to this point? What's kind of that recipe for success, if you could narrow that down?
Common ground, superpower, authenticity.
I like that.
What is, can you expand? Superpower is one that caught me, like common ground. You just talked about that. Let's find common ground. Now we've built a relationship personally, emotionally kind of first. Then we said superpower. That's the first one that stuck out.
To me, superpower is actually knowing what you're good at and knowing what you are not good at. You know, I always say it's empowering to know what you're good at, but at the same time, it's enlightening to know what you are not good at. And my superpower is not what I'm good at. My superpower is knowing the difference between what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. That has been a key to my success. My team members are better at what they do than I am. Because every single person on my team is hired for a specific job and a specific project that they have to do, which I suck at. I'm horrible at that. I'll have clients call me and be like, Minal, I want to do this. And I'm like, hold up. I'm going to connect you with Rhonda. She's on my team and she's so much better at it than I am. So I understand what I'm good at. I know what I'm good at. And that's my superpower, is knowing the difference. And that has really been a big part of my success, because I know when to delegate and to delegate it to people who are better than me at it.
And then the third one, we had common ground, superpower. What was the third one?
Authenticity.
Yeah. That's hard to do, especially if sometimes you're trying to sell something. any tips for physicians or who, are trying to be the best business owners that they can be, but at their heart, they're dentists. I didn't sign up to be a leader or a marketing expert or a financial expert. Can you talk a little bit about some of the struggles on being authentic?
Being authentic is very hard, especially when we live in a world of scripts, and you should be treatment planning this way, and you should be treatment planning that way, and you need to have a protocol to call your patients after 1 week. And if they don't answer you, this is what you should leave for them, and this is what you should do it, right? We live in that world. Mm-hmm. What I have realized is that people are smart. When somebody's trying to sell something to me, I know they're trying to sell it. Mm-hmm. When somebody's trying to think that they're going to take advantage of me, there are times that I have been taken advantage of. Absolutely. Many times I've been taken advantage of. But guess what happens after I've been taken advantage of? I don't care for you anymore. Yeah. I don't trust you anymore. See, authenticity is important because if you actually talk how it is, like today, it's just been a real conversation. I mean, my show on Facebook is called Real Talk with Minal, Sampat.
When isn't it on a timely basis too? Do you do that?
Yeah, so it's on my Facebook page, Minal Sampat. You can friend me, you can follow it. I also have a Facebook group for, Real Talk with Minal Sampat. It's also on YouTube. It's easy to find. But, talking about authenticity is, I say like it is. Like if I will have clients call me, and I have had that, and they will say, Minal, I have X amount of new patients, and I need your help in marketing. And I will tell them, you don't need my help in marketing. You actually need a consultant coming in because your expenses are too high in your overhead. And before we get into marketing, you have to worry about that. And they will be shocked and say, I can't believe you didn't take my money.
Yes.
Right? But guess what happens? When they're ready to spend their money, they call me up because they already trust me. Yeah. So authenticity to me is trust, is building trust. And I rather be poor in 1 month where I know that I just lost that big client, but know that that client is always going to say good things about me. And when they're ready to sign up with me, they're going to sign up with me. There's a reason all my clients are my friends. Yeah. It's not because I was trying to sell them. It's because I'm a part of their journey. I'm a part of their tribe. And, if you were to ask anybody in our network, what do you have to say about Minal? The first thing they're going to say, she's just real. She just tells you as it is. She's just authentic about it. And that's my brand. That's who I am. So to the practice owners who are trying to sell, remember that selling is important because you're in a business. I totally get that. I understand that. But it's also important to have trust, because if you can build trust before you sell, just how I can talk about me growing up in India and having bad teeth and not smiling loud, when I build that trust, that mom is going to come to me. Yeah. That did not involve a Google ad and a beautiful website and all these reviews. Yeah. That just involved me being authentic.
Very neat.
Focus on that.
Yeah.
Very great.
I love it.
I've got one last question here, and I want you to close your eyes and imagine you're in front of a new group of dentists or physicians, people just like you when you were starting. So they're brand new. They're battling their way through their fears, worries, doubts, and struggles, trying to find the footing on the new business. What is the strategies you would recommend that they focus on a daily basis? What is the best thing to ensure their success?
The number one strategy, and I'm so excited you asked me this question because I work with a lot of practices that are just opening up right now. The first thing I want you to understand is the definition of a brand, okay? When you start a business, you're going to get a lot of information coming at you saying you have to work on your logo, you have to work on your colors, you have to work on your website, you have to do this. What is your business card going to look like? All of that is a to-do list. Mm-hmm. That is not your brand. Mm-hmm. You shop on Amazon. Amazon could be called something else and you will still shop there. You have drinks at Starbucks, their logo could be from green, it could be purple, doesn't matter, you're still going to go there, right? Your logo, your colors, the definition, all of that is a to-do list. It's like having a child. Having a business is like having a child, okay? When you have a child, you have to name your child because you have to call your child by a name. Right. Now you spend some time finding the perfect name, that's great. but your child is not defined by their name. I know a Jessica, you know a Jessica, somebody else knows a Jessica.
Yeah.
All those Jessicas are different because they have a personality.
Mm-hmm.
Your brand is your personality of the business. Now, this is a different thing. So follow me along here. And this is important. We focus so much on building a patient avatar. I want you to focus on building a practice avatar. When somebody thinks of your practice, what are the traits that they think about? Your business is a living entity. What is it that they're going to think about? The success for my business, the success for my parents, the success to all my clients, it's because when a client, a patient walks out, they know exactly what that practice is and what they stand for, right? So in that same way, your brand is, what does your practice stand for? What are they known for? And your brand is nothing more than what other people are saying about you.
Wow.
That's your brand. Your colors, your logos, don't spend so much time. Put a deadline. Put a deadline on it and say 2 weeks from now, I'm going to have my logo. I'm going to have my name. I'm going to have a basic website. Go for it. Go for it. Done. Be done with it. Focus your energy and your time into building a practice that has a personality, that has a culture, that if a patient were to walk in, they're going to be like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
This is where I belong. This is where I'm going to keep coming up. Even though your logo is purple or green or orange, I don't care. I'm going to keep showing up here. So that's my strategy for you. Your brand is what other people are saying about you.
Yeah.
Give them something good to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And if I'm working for a dentist who can tell me that, the story they tell me and the way they describe, I can get behind that. I can say, yes, I want that too. But even as a marketer, if I came in and you could tell me that, you tell me the story of what, as you described, the brand, the personality, I can get behind that. It makes my job so much easier than trying to guess if you like this shade of red or this shade of red, knowing that's not where you spend your focus. You spend it on what the personality is. I mean, I don't know if I could have said any of that as well. I don't know if anyone else could. I was just enthralled by that. So great advice. Minal, I know people are listening and wanting more information. Talk about, how can they get in touch with you? Tell them the best way to find out where you're speaking next, or how to get in touch with you.
Sure. My website is minalsampat.com, which is MINALSAMPAT. If you go to my website, you will actually see my live show information there. You will see where I'm speaking there as well. You will have the links to my book there. So if you wanted to purchase it, but website is great. Go learn about my business. Go learn about me. But I want to connect with you. And the way you're going to connect with me is become my friend on Facebook. Like, seriously, just go to Facebook, Minal Sampat. Right now, my cover photo is, I was recently on the cover for Dental Entrepreneur magazine for their spring issue. So the cover you will see is of me on this magazine cover. That's me. That's my profile picture. Send me a friend request. Send me a message. I believe in relationships. So let's be friends. And then everything else will fall into place.
I love that. And, for the listeners out there, you might think, okay, well, we've heard that. She really does mean it. So this has been a huge pleasure. Minal Sampat, best-selling author, speaker, marketing strategist, dental hygienist, wife, entrepreneur.
And a great friend,
enthusiast. We love it. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for having me. This has been great. Thank you.
Thanks, Minal.
RJ, Minal Sampat. Like I said before, kind of in the intro, we could literally spend all day speaking with her, and she's just the type of person that you think, oh, she would actually let us do that.
Well, it's what I'm so interested with all of our guests who I think, man, I don't know if they've got time for me. People like Minal, they'll take your call, they'll help you through the problem, and they don't expect anything in return. But inevitably, when you find those kind of people, you realize these are the kind of people that I want to work with. So I agree with you. I could have spent all day with her.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'll tell you, we've already sent our friend request. She's already accepted them. If you have questions, find her on Facebook. Reach out to her.
I think one of the places I go often is to Facebook and watch her Facebook Live. She's got great Facebook Live. The book, I'm halfway through it already, and it's just very good messaging that we all need to be reminded of, and that is quality, not quantity.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. Like we talked about in the intro, Minal was introduced to us by an audience member. All we got was her name, and we did the rest as far as tracking her down and twisting her arm to be on our little podcast. So if you've got anybody, people, topics, you hear speeches, you're watching YouTube videos, anybody that you would like to hear more from and take a deeper dive with, leave us a comment. Let us know. Like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, all the buttons that you can hit, just go ahead and hit them. And we'd be super appreciative. RJ, until next time, iProv Made Podcast out.